Hey everybody, welcome back to the Calibrate Tools and DIY channel. Glad you guys can make it today, like on every Tuesday. Um, so come on in and I know it's Halloween, right? So some of you guys are probably out there dressing up and partaking in the festivities of what that's supposed to be that day. It's interesting when you dive back into history and find out the origins of that day. I'm not going to get into that. That's not what this channel's about. But if you are out there, be safe. You know, it's a crazy world out there, and last thing you want to do is get into some kind of trouble out there, especially if you got kids. Please, if you got kids out there, um, don't let them go out there by themselves. Always stick around, man, because man, it's anyway. So how's everybody doing? We're gonna dive into the myth of the blue collar worker today. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. I've spoken about that many times on the lives before, but it's always a subject I like to revisit because it connects um, uh, intimately with what this channel is about, which is promoting trades and teaching people how to, you know, work, do it themselves, or at least have a working knowledge of tools and all that stuff. And I just like tools, man. So hey, that's what this is about. But you can actually have a career using tools. You can have a career working with your hands, and that's what. But in over time, the the blue collar worker or professions in the blue collar field have been stigmatized throughout the decades, throughout the years, because it's deemed a dirty job, quote unquote dirty, right? And people tend to shy away from it or think that they can do better. Well, lo and behold, there's those dreams that you're chasing, having a cushy job in the cubicle, working your way up the corporate ladder. That's not really there anymore. That's really, I mean, especially after what happened the last couple of years with everything that was going on. Nobody even goes into an office anymore that much. And so that blew that out of the water, that dream out of the water. So, and there's a lot of myths surrounding, like I said, a lot of other myths surrounding it that we're going to dive into right now. And so hopefully to dispel that. And it's not to dash your dreams of going to college and, you know, uh, pursuing a career in, something that you think is more prestigious or, up the, more upwardly mobile, right? On the hierarchy of, what, that's supposed to be. But so let's dive into it. Okay. So let's see here. Can anybody tell me what the most common major in college is? Can somebody tell me what the most common major in college? What do people major in the most in college? What degree is the most common out there? Can somebody tell me? Take a wild guess. Come on in the chat, by the way. Hey, the Waffle 2, how you doing? Glad you could make it. Myth busting is great. Yeah, I love it. Um, it's always good to dive into, why people believe what they believe and how they come to be. And this is not going to be a history class tonight, but you know, we all know that there's certain myths and stereotypes surrounding different fields, right? The Waffle 2 says English. You think English is the most common major in college? That's interesting. I actually liked English in school, by the way. Believe it or not, I like writing. I like spoken and written word. I was always attracted to that. Maybe that's has something to do with what I'm doing now. But yeah, English. It's not English to Waffle 2. It's something else. Every time, okay, think about it this way. Every time you talk to somebody, a friend, or I don't know, someone says that's young and they want to do something with their lives and they're thinking about going to school, and you ask them, hey, what do you want to major in, or what do you want to do, and what do they usually say, right? What do they usually say? What sounds good to them? What sounds good to them, right? Well, I'll give you a hint. It begins with a B. Okay, it begins with a B. It's business. Business is the most common college degree that's sought after out there, and that's granted actually. Okay, um, and I guess the allure, the sound of, hey, look, I'm gonna get a degree in business, business administration, business management, all this other stuff connected to business. You got the B word connected to it because uh, it sounds good, right? when you hear business, you're thinking, you're thinking money, you're thinking, being upwardly mobile and all that stuff. But the average salary for a business major is $65,000. Okay, according to research I did, $65,000. Now that's not bad coming out of college. That'll pay the bills, that'll pay the rent and all that stuff. And if you happen to get a job in in that, because this is pretty much a general major, right? If you get business administration, it's not like, you can get a job anywhere being, with that degree, I guess, in whatever field you want to get it in. But are you going to, most people that I know that are pursuing business degrees don't necessarily, after they get their degree, if they do finish college, they're not working in the business field, right? And they're not even starting a business. They're not even thinking of starting a business. There's very few so that actually start a business with that degree, believe it or not. And you don't need a degree to start one, by the way. If anybody's listening, you don't need a business degree to start a business, right? I was reading an article not too long ago. This guy, he went to the Wharton School of Business. Wharton, that's considered one of the most what's the word? Ivy League, high end, top end of the spectrum when it comes to formal education after high school. And he said what he learned there just reaffirmed what he had already knew about business. So what does that tell you, right? When it comes to real business, you can't necessarily go to school for that. When it comes to real business, you can't, or entrepreneurship, I should say, that's not a class that you can necessarily teach, right? That's something you got to get out there in the trenches, and you got to learn for yourself. You can't put all that stuff in a book, period. But you can learn fundamental principles about accounting, bookkeeping, certain management techniques, but are those professors teaching that stuff? Do they have a business? Did they, or did they learn from a book as well? And they're just in front of a class getting a paycheck to teach what they learned in a book. So yeah, business is the most common degree out there with the average salary of 65 grand. Okay. 65 grand. Now, out of all the bad press, maybe not so much today, but the myths surrounding the trades, one thing you can't say about it, if you know a little bit about the trades, is that there's no cap. There's no cap to your pay, right? You can start a career in the trades, and at the end of the day, whether you join a union, I think I spoke on that another time on another live that I had. You can join the union, and if you max out your years there, you can end up making well over six figures with benefits. Okay, someone who just got a business degree, who may still be looking for a job in their field, right? If they ever get one, I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can say that unless you climb the corporate ladder. You stay in one place long enough to climb that corporate ladder, which is very rare these days. The attention span of the average young millennial employee is not that long. They stay on a job, maybe a year or 2 year, if that at max, and then they move on, right? So it's at that point, if you're an employee, you better be investing in something your money better be growing outside of your quote unquote career, right? You better be taking some of that money that you got from that one job, investing it. Same with all the other jobs as you move up the ladder, or what you see as the ladder. Hold on a second here. So, yeah. Next on that list, as far as college degrees, anybody give me another guess as to what's the next most common college degree that's out there? Yeah. Well, it would be in the area of health, right? Biomedical. Well, not biomedical sciences, but health. I'm talking about public health, things like that. That's the next thing. I would assume, healthcare jobs. They do have a lot of high-paying healthcare jobs out there, but a lot of them require degrees that are far beyond a bachelor's degree. I wouldn't say far beyond. The next one up, master's degree, right? To really reach those levels of income in that field. And you're talking about putting time in. Okay, now with the trades, right? with the trades, and I haven't gotten to the myths of. I'm just doing a slight comparison before I dive into some of the myths of the trade. With the trades, it doesn't take as long, right? It doesn't take as long to achieve those levels, right? You just have to. Yes, you have to put in the work just like anything else, right? But it doesn't take as long to learn the skill, and a lot of times you're learning the skill while on the job, while getting as you advance, you're getting paid accordingly, you know, in proportion to what level of advancement that you achieve at the time, and you can take that as far as you like, right? With when you're working these high paying or working these jobs, and your dream is to get a high paying position in say healthcare, for instance, yeah, you're gonna be on that one level for quite a while before that happens, and then you got to depend on promotions and all this other stuff. You got and raises and stuff like that. So most of the time, you're going to start out entry level. Even probably, I guess sometimes with a degree, you'll start out. Even with a degree, you'll start out on a somewhat entry level position before you work your way up. So like I said, it's trades not for everybody. College may not be for everybody either. I'm not knocking any side. I'm just giving you comparisons here, and hopefully dispelling the myths and letting you know that there are opportunities in the trades if you just get rid of the myths in your head. Someone was telling me that they knew a friend that had a kid, and it was a couple of kids, and one of the kids said, "Hey, the Waffle Two, I see you. I see you coming up with that one, biology. Okay, we're going to jump on that in a second, but yeah, one of the kids seemed pretty lazy. They didn't want to work, right? They were they were telling, hey, look, you got to go get a job. The parents were telling them that, and they didn't want to do that. They didn't even want to get a blue collar job, and the response they gave was that they didn't think it was worth. It was beneath them in a sense. It was beneath them to go out there to get a quote unquote blue collar job. And that's unfortunately today that sentiment is prevalent among young people, right? It's among young people that sentiment that trades will somehow demote them in terms of social status, and that's a sad thing, because a lot of times the parents of these kids, that's how they raise them, right? They, you know, baby boomers or whoever, their parents were tradespeople or worked in the trades or related fields, and that's how they fed them. That's how that's why they had a roof over their heads and all that stuff. And yet they looked down on what some of their parents did sacrifice to do for them. And so, yeah, it's a sad thing. And it's so many opportunities out there today, right? And if you can multitask, why not do both, right? You can have a degree and do a trade. Matter of fact, some trades require college degrees, believe it or not. I touched on that in a live some months ago. So Waffle 2 says biology is the next most common major. Let's see if he was right. Well, actually, not quite, Waffle 2. That's coming up, but the next most common major is the social sciences and history. Now, how many people have you asked lately? Young people said, "I want to be a history teacher." Not that many. But believe it or not, the median salary, according to what it says here, is $64,000. Now, if you studied history through high school, through college, and you got a degree, and you come out making $64,000, I wouldn't consider that bad, right? But other majors related to the social sciences is legal assistants, economic analysts, market researchers, which would be something I would probably be interested. I love researching how the market works and stuff like that. Public policy analysts, community health workers, things like that. Okay, even anthropologists, economics majors, environmental studies majors, political science. That's all social science stuff. All right, but you don't hear too many people saying that they want to dive deep into that. But obviously, it's the third one down, so it's probably more as common as I thought. Okay. But you would think the next one would have been more common, but that's engineering. Engineering is the next most common major, right? And the salary to that one should attract more people, right? But I think because engineering require the disciplines of the different engineering fields require, maybe a little more intelligence, I should say. For example, you have electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, things like that, chemical engineering, computer engineering, all having to do with building and designing stuff. Okay, that's another part of the brain that you gotta exercise. You gotta be naturally, I wouldn't say naturally, but most people that are attracted to building and designing stuff are naturally mechanical in nature, naturally like to break things down, take them apart, figure them out, things like that. And believe it or not, the trades is the best place to do that. The trades is the best place to do that. You're talking about problem solving at its finest. Get into a trade. I don't care what it is. Okay. Whether it's carpentry, whether it's construction, whether it's, general construction, all that stuff, welding, pipe fittings, things like that. That's all math. Math is all over the place with that. You will be exercising your your math skills, your analytical skills, your problem solving skills, and in a short amount of time. All right, and it doesn't take you 4 years of getting an engineering degree to get a nice paying salary or join a union, and all that good stuff. Now, or if you're more in the entrepreneurial, you have the entrepreneurial bent in you, then you can take those skills and start your own thing, right? But yeah, that's engineering is a big, very big part of the trades. No matter how you look at it, you can't get away from it. I was a welding instructor slash fabricator at a nonprofit for a while, and yeah, I built a few things, and as I wouldn't consider myself the top engineer or designer, but I'll tell you what, man, I definitely had to put my design skills, or dormant design skills. They had to be awakened to do some of the things I did, and it was exercising that part of the brain was very, very fulfilling to myself. I'll tell you that, very fulfilling. And I don't have an engineering degree. I have a brother that has an electrical engineering degree. I had a brother that is a network engineer. As far as in the computer field, right? So I don't know. Maybe maybe it runs in the family or whatever. But yeah, don't doubt. Right? There's a myth in the trades that says, okay, you don't have to be smart. That's a bunch of that is a bunch of BS. Right? You are exercising, okay, all those parts of your brain when you're in the trade. Okay, you're not just swinging a hammer. You're not just digging ditches. The further you go up the ladder, the more challenging the projects are. Okay, the higher the demand on your intellectual capacity will be. And Paragould Life Note says 5-year degree requirement for engineering. So deterring. Yeah, right. For some people, they're like, oh, do I have 5 years just to get something that I'm naturally adept at? And, to do this, to do that. It is a deterrent, right? It is a deterrent. But once again, it's a piece of paper, right? A piece of paper. College is a business as well. Educational institutions are businesses. And the more they can keep you in school, the more they, the more, I guess, money they make. So they lengthen these degrees, they lengthen these, these class periods or whatever you have to take, because they need you in there long enough so they can make a profit as well, right? So, yeah. So what else? Let's see what's I'm doing. Like I said, I'm doing a comparison here, as well as dissecting some of the myths of blue collar work, what's considered blue collar work, and hopefully I'm doing a decent job here. But back to the Waffle 2. He mentioned Waffle 2 mentioned biology before, and next on that list is the biological and medical sciences. Okay, what is that? That's a fancy word for what? Okay, that includes a degree in that includes research assistant, nutritionist, medical writer, pharmaceutical sales representative, or laboratory technician. When was the last time you talked to someone? And I guess it depends on the circles of friends that you have, the groups that you run in, all that stuff, right? Like if you went to Berkeley or you went to one of these highfalutin universities, you may come across more individuals that are into this stuff, right? Researchers, lab technician, pharmaceuticals, all that stuff, right? But the average, the average person, I haven't come across someone saying that they want to be a lab technician or a medical writer or something like that. Um, but yeah, the average salary for that coming out is 65 grand a year. And, um, most young people aren't really looking into those fields, I would say, unless they're pushed that way or unless they're already running in a certain environment where, that's the thing to do, right? Um, but another thing I want to stress is that about a myth about the trades is that it's not just about construction and you know uh, even certain aspects of engineering. A trade can be considered, you know, a nurse can be considered a trade, a paralegal can be considered a trade, even accounting that could be considered a trade, right? Um, and some accountants I know very accomplished accountant myself, and yeah, they got degrees and all that, but they also have people that you know don't necessarily have all the accounting degrees and just know they just know they're just, I wouldn't say they're all natural at it, but a natural they have a natural bent towards that type of work, right? And once again, that's considered a trade as well in a sense, right? But it can also be, people also get degrees in that stuff too, right? Um, what's next on the list? Psychology, right? Psychology. To be honest, I have run across a lot of people that say they want to be psychologists, and you know, um, what's appealing about it? What's appealing about psychology is, and if anybody just jumped in and they say, what's he talking about psychology on in a tool channel for? Well, if you look at the title of the live, I'm doing a comparison for those that just joined or who are going to join on the replay at some point in the middle of this live. I'm doing a comparison between the myths of blue collar work and, you know, business, not business, but college degrees. Okay, college degrees and what people pursue in college, as opposed to what they can achieve in the trades as well, if they dispel some of the myths about the trades that they already have, some of the biases that society has placed on us, the trades, and a lot of it has to do with stereotypes, right? It's dirty job, they don't pay you that much, and all that stuff. All that stuff has been debunked. You just got to study it for yourself. I'm just giving a quick rundown, the best way I can on it. Okay. So yeah, psychologists, the average psychologist coming out, they're making around 50 grand a year. And I don't even know how fast that even, you know, whether you're charging by the hour. I guess or if you work for some establishment as a clinical psychologist. So I know in prison they have prison psychologists, they have school psychologists, they have all this other stuff. And uh the trades, I mean, you're a psychologist anyway. In the trades, you're dealing with so many personalities all the time. As when you're working in the trades, you have to know how to read people. Um, you have to know how to understand all kinds of people from all backgrounds. Matter of fact, this is one part of the trades that I can say is probably true. In a lot of the trades, a lot of individuals are coming from what some people may say unsavory backgrounds, right? So a lot of people coming out of prison, uh, maybe not that educated at all, may not have even finished high school, that are in the trades. But if but if you look at it, that's not a bad thing, right? That's not a bad thing at all. That means the barrier to entry is not as high, and it's allowing people who have been disenfranchised by in society to have an opportunity to come in and elevate themselves and make something of themselves, right? They're not stymied by a college degree or a piece of paper, right? Not to say that, and that's just for some trades, right? You can come in as an apprentice on a lower tier, a lower level, laborer or something like that. But regardless of that, I mean, if you're really trying to make your life better, you can say, hey, I need a job. Someone will give that person a job more quicker than um, someone sitting on their corporate high horse, judging them because they don't have a resume or an adequate resume or whatever, right? So in that sense, the trades are doing a lot of good in the fact that it's not as biased towards people of all backgrounds, right? Even though there is in the trades, we can get into that at another time. People do, you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with belief systems, you're dealing with a lot of prejudices that already exist in society. But at the end of the day, the door is open wider than, say, someone with trying to get in a job with a college degree. So yeah, let me see here. All right, let me find something here. I'll get back to the college degree thing in a minute. So once again, we dispel the myth. We dispel the myth that you have to be super smart. that you that you don't have to be very smart. I'm sorry. Let me back up. To be in the trades, right? That's an absolute myth. I mean, if you're, for example, if you're an HVAC person, you have to know how to build an HVAC system, design an HVAC system. Even a diesel mechanic has to know how to read diagnostic tools that are some of them very, very sophisticated. Okay, most people wouldn't even know how to handle that. Like if you walk into the average trade school today with the technology that's there, that does that the dummies don't know how to read that stuff or even design stuff. You're talking about 3D modeling of systems, HVAC systems, right? At the Sheet Metal Workers Union, I mean, they teach this stuff. It's not like you get a job in the trade and they throw you a shovel and say or a masonry tools and say go build that. No, a lot of times there's a lot of continuing education going on in there, right? You can get certified and you can keep getting certified and certified. So the more certifications you get, more qualified you get, and the more pay you get, right? So it's almost like going to school. It's almost like going to college again, right? But in a different way. So, yeah, I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous if you think that there are no avenues for continuing education, higher education, advanced education. I'm talking about advanced math, advanced engineering, advanced schematic reading. All that stuff is, that's nothing. That's not just for for anybody. You got to have some kind of skill in order to master these disciplines in the trades. Okay, so get it out of your head. Myth number. Let's talk about some of the myths. Okay, skilled trades means construction worker, plumber, electric. No, it says let's read this for a second. With more than 40 skilled trades supported by organizations like I'm gonna skip over some stuff. There's so many different fields in the trades. Okay, it's not just those things. Okay, it's not just those things that I just listed off. And so it would behoove you to study it if you are interested in getting into trade. See what's out there. Okay, see what's out there for you to learn. Okay, there's ample room for advancement. Okay, that's another myth that there's a glass ceiling. You can't rise. You got to fight. No, it's in some instances, yeah, you got to deal with a lot of nepotism, and then you got to deal with the boss's grandfather owning the company and all that stuff, and only letting you go so high and stuff like that. But you're gonna have to deal with that stuff on a job anyway, right? On a what's called a white collar career, right? And you're still gonna have to deal with all these things. So it's no difference there. Okay. Here's another thing: gender roles, right? There's a myth that says the trades aren't suited for women, right? Women shouldn't be in the trades. Well, if you look around, that's a lie. I used to be, I was in trucking world for almost 20 years, right? Almost 20 years, and seen many a woman trucker driving trucks like it's nothing. Big rigs, 18 wheelers, all over the place. I've been in the welding world to some extent. And believe it or not, women make some of the best welders. I had a live on that, I think, dedicated just to that subject alone. And something about how the steady hand of a woman, the detail oriented mentality of women that makes them such good welders, and they got a bunch of fantastic, excellent women welders out there in the world. So that's a myth, right? That's a myth that women are not suited for the trades. Now, yeah, granted, you can't deny the fact that men are stronger than women physically, and they can lift things better, more easier than a woman can. But when it comes to everything else, really haven't seen much of a difference. Matter of fact, I've seen, like I said, with the welding thing, it kind of surprised me. I mean, I was just like, wow, uh, every woman that I've had some proficiency at welding, they took to it pretty quickly. Um, so yeah, that's a myth. Uh, you can't earn a good living. That's a laugh. Oh my goodness, you got tradesmen, people in all kinds of trades making six figures or more, right? Whether they're a handyman making over six figures, yeah, a handyman can make over six figures, believe it or not. Especially, handyman. If you're a handyman, think about it. Most likely you're running your own handyman firm, your own handyman business, and you can charge. You can charge. I don't want to say whatever you want, but I was looking at this one handyman story. He started out charging, I think it was maybe 25, 25. He started at $25 an hour, and he raised his prices all the way up to $100 an hour. Okay, the guy's making like over maybe 14 grand a month just being a handyman, right? Just no, just coming and fixing people's stuff, not doing any heavy work. Like, you need crews to come in and do the roof and all that stuff. But again, it's because he's charging a certain price point that he can make that kind of money without having to do all that stuff. But yeah, as someone with some kind of contracting skills, especially if you were in the construction field or contracting world before, and you got tired of that, you can come out and have your own handyman business and do pretty well for yourself, believe it or not. But most people say they hear handyman and they're like, handyman, yeah. But you believe some handyman are making way more than you probably ever made in your life. Here we go. Let's read this. Lisa Hansler. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Thanks for joining in. I wish I would have been a general contractor. What stopped you from being a general contractor, Lisa? I'm sure you would have been great at it. Okay, what's your background? Did you have some experience in the trades? I would like to know. Please let us all know. Claudette McCoy, how you doing, Claudette? I'm trying to push the trades on my daughter. It just makes more sense. Yeah, absolutely. If you have a child that well, I think one of the responsibilities of a parent is to see what their child's good at, see what their proficiencies are, see what they like, and not necessarily push them into what you think. Some people, and they push their children into careers that they think the child should be in. Okay, should be a doctor. They need to be a doctor, need to be a lawyer, need to be this, need to be that. And they really push their child and not even knowing what the child wants, right? And I get it. Sometimes a child needs to be steered in a certain direction, right? You don't want them just out there, right? And especially if they're going to college or something like that, and they're not, you're wasting your money because the child still doesn't know what they want. I hear that, but at the same time, if you notice that every child has a propensity for something, and if you notice your child has a propensity for something, you should talk to them about it and say, hey, listen, what is this? What you think you want to do? And then, if it's geared more towards the trades, then kind of steer them that way, right? Put them in classes, put them in events or something. Surround them and put them in an environment where they can blossom more, right? That's the job as a parent. One of the jobs, I think, right? Yet still to give them the freedom to make choices, right? And to change their mind. Lisa says, I have a doctorate as a nurse practitioner. Wow. So that's a stretch. You got a PhD as a nurse practitioner, which by the way, congratulations on that achievement. I know it took you a while to do that. So I guess you didn't like nursing that much, huh? So or am I wrong, right? Because you said you would have been doesn't mean you want it to be. So I don't, I could be wrong. Clear me up on that. Straighten me out on that. Claudette says, of course, only things she is passionate about. Yeah, I hear that. Claudette. The thing is, sometimes when we look at the real world here, we say, okay, sometimes what we're passionate about is not going to pay the bills, right? I get it about passion. I truly get it. But sometimes I think it's pushed too much that, hey, you got to be passionate. You got to be passionate. And that's more of an emotional approach to life, which I don't think serves us all the time, right? So, yes, I do think you have to have some kind of passion, some level of passion to pursue something. But at the same time, when we think about, we got to use our logical brain and say, okay, is that thing that I'm passionate about, is it going to be able to feed me if I want certain things in life? Is that passion going to be able to help me achieve that? Because, if not, and those things that I want to achieve or acquire, like a house, car, all this, whatever, travel, if that passion is not going to be able to pay for that stuff, then maybe maybe I need to think about that passion, right? It's a passion, but it's not something that's going to fund the lifestyle that I want to live. So yeah, that's all, we all had to, play with that in our heads at some point in life. Perigo Life Note says, having a trade while pursuing higher education should be the model. That way they are able to really consider what area to go through. Yeah, I agree with that. When they took the trades out of schools, and I'm not saying they're totally out now, because I know some schools still have wood shop and some kind of trade program in the school. That was happening then, right? They were going to school, they were doing all their rotary classes, math, science, and stuff. Yeah, but then they go to the shop class and get exposed to that, and the machining class, all that stuff. I talked to some old timers, and that's what they had when they were coming up, man. I was like, man, I remember some wood shop when I was coming up, but I never had had a machining class. And if I had all that stuff, I would have been knee deep in that stuff, because I like that stuff, man. So that, you would have had both worlds, and where the kids would be exposed to, and they had that back then. But of course, what happened. College started being pushed. College degrees started to be pushed more onto the kids. This is the way to go. And the trades were kind of pushed to the background. And there were reasons for that, political reasons, stuff like that, which is another conversation. Okay, Claudia says, such as culinary. Yeah. If your daughter, a good chef, like a personal chef of some of the, I'm sure gets paid very handsomely. We see that on TV now. So like if you're a chef, you can have your own show. In today's world, right? You could have your own YouTube channel. You could have your social media is all kinds of things to do with that. Cooking channels, they're so popular, and you can make money on that stuff. You don't have to be on TV, right? You could have your own YouTube channel cooking stuff, and I'm sure a lot of cooking channels have so many subscribers that their ad revenue is like out the window, so high. Just off the ad revenue alone, they're probably getting, So yeah, that's a good trade to get into. Very Girl says, if they want to go to medical school or become what's that? So work in a restaurant as a teenager, so they can see it requires more than just cooking. Yeah. When I was coming up myself, well, at the age of 12, 13, I was mowing lawns in my neighborhood for money, right? So, I know the importance of work ethic, money, all that stuff. So I had exposure to that. But later on, I was a dishwasher in restaurants. I just wanted to work. I didn't care. I worked at pizza parlors, wherever I could find work. I wasn't picky. And, before I got out of high school, I was working. So, yeah, developing that work ethic, being exposed to, even if it's a regular job, having a good work ethic is like one of the best things. We can still instill a work ethic in even a non-ambitious person with a work ethic, right, is more valuable or will attain more in life than a ambitious person without one. Let me say that again. A non-ambitious person, okay, with a work ethic, though, get up and go to work, and all that, will have a better quality of life than a non-ambitious person or someone who does not have goals, or I should say a very ambitious person. I'm sorry, a very ambitious person with no work ethic. It just, that person, that's a dreamer. That's all that is. That's a dreamer. That's the definition of a dreamer. Okay. Lisa says, I'm passionate about being a nurse practitioner. I'm assuming that's what NP means, but the politics is crazy, especially when MDs are threatened by you. Wow. You're saying that medical doctors are threatened by you, Lisa? A, 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 a nurse practitioner, a medical doctor is threatened by a nurse practitioner. Why would they be threatened by a nurse practitioner? I love figuring things out. I was in graphic arts and mechanical drawing. I hear that. Yeah, I feel you. So that kind of makes sense now with as a general contractor, you're looking at plans, and all that stuff. Perigo says, right now, U.S. is in trouble. They need a balance. We don't have enough tradesmen and too many unemployed people with college degrees. Absolutely. Right now is the best time. Right now is the best time for someone, okay, who wants to get into the trades to get in. There's a shortage of skilled tradesmen out there. There's a labor shortage. It's been going on for a long time. You can, in a sense, right now, you can almost command your pay right now because there's a shortage, right? All right. The demand is so high, you can go in there and say, okay, with some, skill, of course, right? You can go in there and say, listen, I'm worth this, right? I'm not going to settle for that. In some fields, you can do that, right? Today, because it's a shortage. They need people, so they have to accommodate. They have to accommodate you, right? And if they don't, someone down the road will, okay? Because they need them that much. It's almost like in the trucking world, right? As a trucker, I tell guys, listen, even if you never drive a day in your life, having your CDL is one of the best decisions you can make because you will always have work. You'll always have, even right now where it's tight right now in the trucking world, right? But stuff has to move regardless. Groceries, food has to get to the stores, right? And all these goods have to get to these stores. They're not just going to sit there, right? So you're going to move. This stuff has to move, period. So that's the position you want to put yourself in. You want to put yourself in a position where your position is insulated from the hits that the economy takes, right? I mean, something has to happen regardless, whether the economy is bad or not. Things have to move. People have to eat. People have to buy goods. People have to buy baby food. People have to buy, beds, all that stuff. Let's see. Right now, okay, I'm skip that. Perigo said they are not willing to work at all and have job experience. Yep, there's people out there like that. And I think the pandemic and some of the, let's face it, that was a break. That was a vacation, a much desired vacation. I don't say much needed, but it went for a lot of people, right? They said, man, I don't have to work. I'm getting a stimulus check, and they never went back, Perigo says, Lisa, sounds like it's not too late to open your own business using the doctorate. There are designs of medical offices or specific specialty facilities like special needs young adults day program. Yeah, that's a good one. You hear that, Lisa? Yeah, you can actually use your design skills, and get into the contracting field, right? You can start your own contracting business. You can start small. Don't give up on that dream if that's really what you want to do. It sounds like it's still something in the back of your head. And if I were you, I would explore that more, right? Especially if you've reached the pinnacle of what you want to do in the nursing field, and you got these medical doctors, for goodness sake, feeling threatened by you. Obviously you got something special going on to make them feel threatened like that, okay? Or is that a common thing, where they feel threatened by the doctors, PhDs? I'm talking about nurse practitioners. Yeah, but so you can use your skills and start your own thing, and that's really what I kind of point people towards. Not everybody, right? Because the vast majority of people are not going to go out there and start a business or nothing like that. But that's the next level up, in my opinion. Having because that, in a sense, that gives you a certain level of freedom along with ownership, right? And not just freedom in time, in terms of time, because actually when you start a business, you may have less time than you had when you had a job, right? Because now everything's on you, and you have to be responsible for, you wear all the hats now, so you probably have less time, but you have a certain amount of freedom. And at the end of the day, you own what you built, right? Instead of building someone else's company or someone else's whatever project or dream, you building your own. And that's something that that brings a certain level of financial freedom as well, that you couldn't have had if you were working for someone. Not to say you couldn't make a bunch of money working for someone else, because you can, but so it all depends on you, your personality, and what you want for yourself, if you want to explore that. Yeah. So where were we here? If you guys like this live, hit that like button, and don't forget to go to calibrate.com, guys. Sponsoring this live tonight. We got some great products for you. Christmas is coming up. We got some great gift items. Go get some gift items right now. Get some gift sets, tool sets, for that loved one, that DIYer in your life. Okay. Or it might be yourself. We got some proprietary, meaning that only Calibrate manufactures or makes these things. That's a picture hanging tool. Okay. Great picture hanging tool. We got some great tool kits, not big toolboxes right now, but something you can even throw in your car glove box or something like that, and or whatever. We all need a mini toolkit to help us do the odds and ends, light housework types of tools. Okay, so check that out. We got all that. We got jumper cables. We got automobile emergency kits. So check out calibrate.com, or mark it as your favorite and go check it out later and go. That's a great way to support the channel, guys. I really appreciate it. Visual performing arts. That's the next one on the list. We know how that goes. They got the actor strike going on. So communication and journalism. That's another one. That's next on the list there. Starting out around 50 grand a year, $54,000. Education. Those are teachers. That's on the bottom of the list. It's not surprising. A lot of people are not majoring in that. I wouldn't say the bottom, but it's close to the bottom. Well, actually, it is on the bottom of this list, right? 48 grand a year to be a teacher, and one of the most important professions, I think, in the world is to be a teacher, right? To influence what a child's learning, and their exposure to education, their exposure to new information. But they get paid the least in society, and that's I think that's a shame. It tells you something about the capitalist economy that we live in. I think probably in other countries, I don't know, socialist, communist countries, they probably get more honor, but not here. And it's because it's a capitalist country, right? In the trades, I mean, you get to teach all the time. Hey, look, I got a YouTube channel. I'm teaching all the time on this channel. And all right, back to the chat here. Lisa says, true. We are taught running programs and hospitals at the doctorate level. Interesting. Yes, I have been thinking about my own business. Yeah. If you have a if it's on your mind, why not explore that, right? If you're financially free enough to explore that, right? And you may find that you like it. You may find that it's not for you, but why not? Perry Girl says, welder, $35 an hour makes 72 grand a year. Entry level. Yep. They have, like I said, I used to teach at a welding school, nonprofit. And, some of the guys came fresh out of, guys and girls came fresh out of jail, fresh out of prison, homeless. We all taught them how to, basic welding skills, not even advanced, basic stuff, right? And some of them went on to get good jobs and doing pretty good for themselves. I mean, it's amazing. I saw a lot of turnaround, positive turnarounds of people's lives in that program. And so and that's a trade. That's a trade that a lot of people look down on, because you get a dirty job. Yeah, okay. Well, that bank account's not dirty, right? you know. So once again, this is not to bash college at all, right? It's necessary. Higher education is necessary in some and in some a lot of fields. Lisa, for instance, she got a doctorate. For instance, I mean, for goodness sake, right? She didn't get that on the street. She had that. They had to give that to her, right? She had to earn that in a formal educational setting. And or I don't know, she could have got it. Sometimes some of the classes maybe she took online. I don't know. Whatever, she got it, right? It's something that is granted to her, and she earned that. But a lot of times, that's not needed to make it in life. Okay, so don't make that the end all be all. Okay, Perry Life said truck driver entry level, $58,000. Yeah, and trust me, it's higher than that if you have multiple trucks. If and the trucking industry is up and down, right? It's up and down as well. But if you know how to navigate, if you know what you're doing, and you know how to navigate the ups and downs of the economy, because it's never like smooth sailing like this. It's never like that, right? It's always like this. You're always gonna have recessions. You're gonna always have booms and busts in the economy, and the whole trick is to be able to ride it out, right? Ride it out. Sous chef. Here you go, Claudette, for your daughter. A sous chef, 58. You can start out from 40 grand to about almost 60 grand a year. She can start out doing that if she hones her skills, and if she really loves to do this, she could do great at it. And it doesn't have to be the only thing she does. It doesn't have to be the only thing she does. If she has other skills, she can capitalize on that stuff too. Lisa says university. Oh, so you went to UM? Yeah, I lived in Miami half of my life, actually. I grew up there from the age of 10 and left there at the age of 21 or something like that. So yeah, I know University of Miami pretty well. My brother went to University of Miami. My sister went to University of Miami. What year did you graduate, Lisa? What did you get out of there? I'm not trying to date you or anything like that. You don't have to tell me, because I know how women are about their ages. So, but yeah, I know Miami pretty well. Accounting clerk, Perry Girl Life knows. Well, you know about accounting clerk, Perry Girl. $41,000 clerk, and that's an accounting clerk. Okay, I'm assuming that's like on the lower level, the bookkeeping level. People will always eat. Absolutely, they will always eat. Yep, that's right, Lisa. All of these can assist with higher education costs and give experience in that area. Yeah, like Perry License was saying before, even if you want to go to college, if you have a skill, a trade that you're in, that can actually pay for your school, right? Nobody's saying it's either or. You can actually, say you say you're a welder or a plumber or electrician or something like that. You can use that to pay for your college, because these kids coming out of school now, they're saddled with so much debt. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's almost like it was a setup, and I think one of the worst things to do to your kids is to saddle them with debt, right? It's to saddle them with debt. I mean, then they have, they're catching up for the rest of their lives. Even if they get a high paying job after college, it's still meant for that high paying job to service the interest on a high debt that they incurred just by getting that degree. So it's almost like a hamster on a wheel. You never get ahead, right? So with the trades, you don't have that much debt. You can take a course, maybe cost you a few $1,000s, depending on what it is, or whatever. They even have a lot of free programs to get certified in certain trades, where you have no debt. Okay. And let's face it, one of the reasons America went down the tubes in a lot of ways is because they outsourced all the manufacturing, which a lot of that was trade work, whether it was fixing the big machinery and stuff like that, or being, running it, or innovation, right? They outsource innovation. Then you wonder why other countries dominate, right? In certain areas. Lisa says 2017. Okay, so you're not you're not that far back. All right, but congratulations on that. Are you still in Miami now? I'm just curious. Architectural Sheet Metal 101. Hey, Architectural Sheet Metal 101. Thanks for joining. Hey, you guys, don't forget to subscribe. And really appreciate that. I'm trying to reach 20K this before the year's out. 20,000 subscribers. That would really help. And if you guys can share, just hit that like, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Okay. Okay. Great topic. Thank you. It says Architectural Sheet Metal 101 says trades are the life hack of the future. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, something's always going to have to be built. Stuff is always degrading over time, and it's going to have to be restored. Going to have to be built, and going to have to be maintained in all areas, right? You just can't lose with it. It's something that's not gonna go away. The trades are not gonna go away, but they can be outsourced, right? So instead of you sitting on the sidelines while stuff's being outsourced, why don't you take advantage of what's out there now, and to elevate your own situation and live a decent life. I mean, you can travel the world on the trades. You can travel the world as a trucker. I mean, I remember I might have been 5 years into trucking, and I had enough money to take trips around the world. I know truckers that travel around the world as a trucker. Okay, so that doesn't sound the word trucker doesn't sound classy, right? But I mean, you'd be surprised. And that was as a driver. I wasn't even an owner operator. As a driver, okay, just a humble driver traveling the world. So, but it's all about money management. You can do that on any job that's paying you a decent amount, right? And that's less than $25 an hour I was making back then, or $20, $25, but it's all about money management. That's another topic. Very good life notes. In California, you can go to junior college almost free. Yeah, over here in California, they'll tax the what out of you over here, but they better offer something for free. All the taxes that they incur on people here in California. Lisa says, Space Coast. Okay. AI can't hold a drill or swing a hammer. Yeah. I hear you. Architectural sheet metal 101. The artificial intelligence, that's the big thing now. And if you're not up on that, it's gonna take a lot of jobs out of there. Let's be honest. Architecture sheet metal, that was the purpose of it, right? It's already been around, but now it's really infiltrating the popular mindset right now, and it's gonna displace a lot of people, and that's what technology is all about. But so what do you do in that? It can't swing a hammer. It can't strategize on certain things, right? But you never know, right? Over time, these things can get even more advanced. So I wouldn't be too sure of myself. Maybe now it can, and I'm sure some robots can swing a hammer, especially like on an assembly line or something like that. But yeah, you still have a leg up on. I think you have more of a leg up in the trades when it comes to AI than in an actual, because I mean they got artificial intelligence right now fighting court cases. I mean, can you believe that? I think one guy lost because he used artificial intelligence. The lawyer used ChatGPT or artificial intelligence to fight the case and something like that. But I mean, even if the guy lost, the fact that they're using that stuff to formulate legal arguments, right, in a courtroom, in a live courtroom, that tells you, man, it's a lot of things that you have to look at, I mean, like bookkeeping and stuff like that in the accounting world. Artificial intelligence is probably going to take that over. I mean, it's going to take a whole bunch of things over. But when it comes to like certain design aspects, and I hate to say for sure, right? Because in some ways, artificial intelligence, they probably, it's going to get so close to be able to design something that may be threatened as well. But right now, I don't think so. Right. So um, it's almost like, I don't know. It's almost like being in the Matrix at some point. The actual movie coming to life. Um, AI can only go for so far in the trades, so far as trades are necessary. Yeah, yeah. AI can only go so far now. Yeah, it only goes so far now. But believe you me, the people that are creating this artificial intelligence and working on it where they can actually replace human beings totally. Right. I mean, I know it sounds kind of George Orwell, 1984, Matrix, and all this stuff, but man, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but when you think about the motivations of some of this, some who's of people that behind this technology, you can only, they're not just going to stop there, right? Oh, we're not going to create more advanced. No, they're going to push it. They're going to push it to the limit. They're going to push it as far as they can push it. Okay. People are creating the chips, not AI. You're right, but Paragon Life, those people are creating the chips, but the people are what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? It's the motivations, the intent, the intentions of those same people. I don't think are all, for the good of humanity. I mean, let's not live in la la land here. They can 3D. Mike Reed, hey Mike Reed, thanks for coming and joining the chat. Mike Reed said they can 3D print homes. Absolutely, they're 3D printing cars, homes, all of that. They're 3D printing people. They're 3D printing organs in the body. Stuff like that. They've been doing that, right? So it's only going to get more and more advanced, right? And so if you have the long view of things, I don't know, I might not even be around by then, by the time they have actual clones where human beings are just a brain, like a synapse in a robot's head. I don't know, maybe human beings will be outdated, obsolete. I don't know. Anyway, can they order the materials and deliver the materials for the 3D home? Yeah, I think so, Paragola. I think if you want a home built that way, as someone who's buying, obviously you're gonna probably have to finance the materials or something like that. You're gonna have to pay for it somehow. Architectural says robots can't operate in the rain either. Rust right up. Hey, architectural, come on now, you're a sheet metal guy. They got something called aluminum. They got rust-free alloys that won't be affected by water. Found your channel looking to install wedge anchors. Oh yeah, thanks. Appreciate that, man. Every now and then I put out a few tidbits here and there, a few gems. Lisa says, with AI, people lose their critical thinking skills. Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate, right? Because now you got students using ChatGPT to write their research papers, or you know, to do their math homework and stuff like that. They're using AI to do all that stuff. So yeah, it is making people mentally, intellectually lazy, unfortunately. But you couldn't really stop something like this. There are no moral or ethical. I'm sure that right now the laws are being rewritten, or it's a big thing in the legal world now to how to somehow, I don't want to say contain, or to have some kind of checks and balances on artificial intelligence. But yeah, even on a basic level, you got students using this stuff and getting caught and all this stuff, and this is becoming intellectually lazy. So yes, critical thinking skills are going out the window if the trend continues where students have access, right, to this stuff to pass a class, right? It's no better than cheating, um, cheating on a test, right? But it'll be interesting to find out how they can how they can stop that from happening, right? Because some people are just going to slip through the cracks. Mike Reed says they extrude the cement used to make these 3D printed homes. Check it out. Yeah, extrusion. I mean, just 3D printing, 3D printing by itself. Even back in the day, 3D printing in its earliest stages, it was all about extrusion, right? Like plastics and stuff like that. I'm familiar with the manufacturing world and 3D printing products, right? I have a product I invented, by the way. One of the flagship products, Calibrate, is a picture hanging tool. You see that sign back there? That's the ad for it. Matter of fact, let me pull one up right now. Second here. So this right here is this is when you send stuff over to China and stuff like that. Yeah, they create molds and dies for them, right? They create a mold, they print them out, they stamp them out. But a few of these I had printed, 3D printed, right, for samples and stuff like that. It was quicker for me to get them this way because if I had them manufactured, it would take much longer. So I went to a 3D printing company and they printed out a couple of these for me, so I could use the samples. And so yeah, 3D printing has been out there. It's been out there, guys. And think about it though. Think about what we're talking about here. With the advancement of 3D printing technology and the advancement of AI merged together, right? Artificial intelligence plus 3D printing. You're talking about, creating cities with no construction worker, right? At least, hey, and that's why I said architectural. They won't, all aspects of the trades won't be won't be taken over by AI, but because of the savings that these big companies are going to make, a lot of it is the average laborer that they make. Because if you're talking about 3D printing a city or a building or a home, who knows? I don't know this. I don't know all the logistics of that, whether that's less waste, right? Less waste to 3D print a home versus a bunch of construction workers coming to build a home, right? Maybe it's less waste. Maybe it's, because you got a computer doing it. It can predict waste. It can measure precisely, and it can build it much faster. It's just, and probably with stronger materials as well than brick. I don't, it's something. It's a fascinating field, and you kind of got you, in a sense, you're almost in awe of the technology that's out there now. And it seems to be exponentially getting more and more advanced, at the same time exponentially threatening the livelihoods of so many people, right? So, but that's one of the harsh realities, right? Either you stay up on game and you learn. You say, okay, listen, I can't beat a robot. A robot can work 24/7. A robot won't complain. A robot won't care if I call it names. A robot won't, it's just going to do all that. You, as a company owner, that's a dream. That's a dream, right? Can you blame them for replacing somebody with that, human beings with robots or artificial intelligence, right? A robot's not going to sue you for all your money, and stuff like that. So there's so many benefits on their end. So collateral damage, man, it's been that way ever since the beginning of time, so there's going to be a lot of collateral damage. So in terms of people, hate to say that, but it is what it is. Architectural sheet metals responding the mic there. Yes, pretty amazing. Claudette says, yeah, phone just died, so I'm just tuning back in. Okay, cool. Glad you're back. Mike Reese says the robot comes with maintenance plan. Yeah, somebody could always pull the plug on a robot. I get it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do as a young person? As a, it doesn't matter age. As a person today, wanting to make it in this society with where technology is outpacing your skills. I'm talking about the skills, the degrees, and all the stuff you have. Technology is outpacing that stuff. What do you do? Well, it's all about continuing education, or getting into a field where you can, the landscape, you can foretell in the future the landscape is not, it's going to be as affected as that landscape over there. It's going to be taken over. You got to be able to look at the long view and say, okay, that's safer over there to be there. Let me hone my skills in that area. And that's where emotions, you got to take your emotions out of it. It's not about being passionate anymore. It's not about being passionate. You better become passionate about something that's going to contribute to your own survival. That's what you better be passionate about. Vape and play video games. Okay. There you go. Vape and play. Yeah, you can do that. I don't know if that's going to pay the bills, architectural. I hear you. I mean, these days, they got young kid, grown-ups too, like on YouTube with video game channels making bank, making so much money just having a video game channel. So hey, maybe there's something to that. Perigo says you learn to balance using AI and your line of work. Some technologies are needed, but never discount human touch. Yeah, absolutely, Perigo. I don't think the human factor will ever be becoming obsolete. No, there's always going to be a human behind things, right? Because that's just it's just the motivations of humans. You can put checks and balances on this stuff, right? It doesn't have to take over society like I'm trying. I'm not trying to scare anybody or like it sounds. And if it does happen, it's because a human being allowed it to happen, right? You don't. It's like letting a flood in. You could let your bathtub flood the house, or you could turn off the faucet, right? So it's up to human beings to allow these things to happen. But my fear, and I hate to say I'm fearful, but my just knowing human nature, right, and certain and power corrupts, right? When you have that kind of power, you tend not to be as compassionate for your fellow man anymore, right? It's like whatever, you know what I mean? And there's always going to be an element of society that just don't give a you know what, and it's all about the money, it's all about the power, it's all about control, right? So when I'm speaking from the standpoint of AI and all this stuff taking over, that's what I'm coming from that aspect. It's almost like coming from the worst scenario aspect. You envision the worst scenario of a situation, and then you go from there. That way you're prepared, right? So the goal is to prepare, right, for those situations. Lisa says AI can be a check and balance on homes built and what was in the plans versus what was done. Yeah, that's what you call using technology in an ethical manner, right? To benefit and actually help people, right? When you use technology to help, not just for the sake of profit, right? Because I mean, at the end of it, what do you want? You want a world full of people just aimlessly unskilled people who couldn't keep pace because there were no checks and balances on technology that was put out there. Do you want that? It can't happen with the wrong people in power. I mean, we see wars happening now. We see, bombs dropped on people and stuff like that. And that was the technology of the day, right? I mean, bombs, right? Like destroying destroying vast amounts of people. It's the same thing, if you don't have a check and balances on these things, it's like, well, but it's all because man decided to do that, right? Man decided to destroy another man. So yeah, at the end of the day, it comes back to the human factor. Architectural says, great live session, heading to bed. Hey, you have a good one, man. Hope you have a good rest. And yeah, hope to see you on the next one, Architectural. Appreciate you coming in and joining. Appreciate that. Take care. And there we go. I'm about to call it a night myself. I really appreciate you guys coming in. This is one of the best lives I've had. The topic, I didn't really know what I was going to talk about earlier. But I said, let me talk about this, and it really segued into something productive, really good conversation, really good insights coming from you guys and all you guys' backgrounds. I appreciate every last one of you. Matter of fact, let me shout you out, because right now at this stage, I don't have a lot of people coming to my live, so I shout out people coming in while I can, okay? Waffle 2, I appreciate you coming in. Lisa Hensler, I appreciate you coming in. Claudette McCoy, I appreciate you as well. Perigirl Light Notes, of course, appreciate you. Let's see here. I know Architectural, Sheet Metal 101. Thanks, man. Have a good one tonight. Mike Reed, I seen you in there somewhere. Thanks for coming on in. Appreciate you. And appreciate you guys. Don't forget to go to calibrate.com, help support the channel. Love you guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.